Hey Magic fans, and welcome to the Let's Talk Magic podcast game day preview. Today we are talking about regular season game number 66 for the Orlando Magic, and let's be honest, after some recent subpar performances, the Magic are now looking to net a win over Brooklyn tonight in the Kia Centre in what is another battle for Eastern Conference seeding. The venue, as we say, is the Kia Centre in Orlando. Tip time is 7 p.m. in Orlando, which with the clocks having sprung forward stateside is actually another earlier tip in the UK, 11 p.m. here. If you are wanting to watch live or on demand from the UK, you are going to need an active NBA League Pass subscription. We'll talk about the Magic first. Regular season record of 37 and 28. We have lost 2 straight now and are 7 and 3 in the last 10 played. Our home record officially is 21 and 9, though on the floor of the Kia Centre it is 21 and 8. We stand 5th in the East, scoring 110.6 points per game, conceding 109.4. That sees us rated 23rd on offence and 4th on defence. Last time out against the Indiana Pacers, we were back home and unfortunately the Magic just failed to deliver very much of an offensive threat against the Indiana Pacers, and we fell 111 to 97. In that first quarter, the Magic did have a bit of rhythm on both ends of the floor, twice holding an 11-point lead. Unfortunately, a 15-point lead that we managed to extend it to early in the second quarter was as good as it got for the Magic, and the signs were there as Indiana began to peg the Magic back. A 3-point halftime lead was absolutely obliterated by a 39-point Pacers third quarter. Indiana were the more physical, more disciplined team throughout the game, and they got hot. The points conceded were well below our opponent's season per average, but that is about as good as you can say for the Magic. If you shoot below 40%, which is what we did again, it's not conducive to getting a win. For Orlando, the leaders had our leaders had a very inefficient scoring night. Paolo Banchero, he may have led us with 19 points, but unfortunately it was on 6 of 20 shooting, and overall he made just 1 of 8 from the 3-point line, which he tried. Franz, 13 points, he went 5 of 14 from the floor, and from distance, 0 of 3. Cole Anthony led the bench with 16 points. Wendell Carter Jr. posted what was his 6th double-double of the season, 13 points and 15 rebounds, and Joe Ingles completed double-digit scoring for Orlando, 11 points. The starting lineup was somewhat of a surprise. Caleb Houston came in to join Gary Harris, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, and Wendell Carter Jr. From the bench, we saw Anthony Black, Jonathan Isaac, Cole Anthony, Joe Ingles, and Morris Wagner. So for tonight, after both missing the Pacers game, Jalen Suggs, who was out with a thigh contusion, and Markelle Fultz, who had left knee strain, are no longer listed on our injury report, so they should be available again. Jet Howard remains assigned to the G League. Trevelyan Queen and Kevon Harris are both listed as out, being two-way G League players. So you've got to expect that if Suggs is available as listed, he should get the start, likely to join Gary Harris, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, and Wendell Carter Jr. Talking about the Brooklyn Nets now, 26 and 39, they won their last game and are 5 and 5 in the last 10 played. They stand 11th in the East, and whilst that's outside of the playing seedings at this moment in time, they are still chasing that down. They score 111.9 points per game, concede 113.9, 19th in both offensive and defensive rankings. The Nets have a 10 and 21 road record. Offensively, they shoot the ball at a high clip from range. They put up almost 38 3-point attempts per game and make just shy of 14. We saw it in the second game against the Nets this season, that they can be absolutely lethal from the 3-point range. Ranking 6th in offensive rebounds. When they miss, they get a decent number of second chance points. Turnovers, they keep them relatively low. Defensively, they play successfully limiting points in the paint. They concede only 47.6 points per game, which is ninth in the NBA. It's actually a better figure than the Magic. They are somewhat, though, susceptible to the fast break. Perhaps unexpectedly for some people, team leader this season in scoring is Cam Thomas, 21.3 points per game. Mikal Bridges, I guess, is the acknowledged leader and star of the Nets. He is second in scoring, putting up 20.9 points per game, 4.7 rebounds and 3.8 assists. Dennis Schroeder, since being picked up by the Nets, he's played 14 games and he's proven a solid acquisition. He is averaging 14.6 points per game and 5.9 assists. They also have Cameron Johnson, Nick Claxton and Lonnie Walker IV, all averaging double-digit scoring. Last time out, they took on Cleveland, and they left Cleveland with an impressive 120-101 win. It was a relatively tight game that was absolutely blown open during the third quarter, where Brooklyn poured in 44 points. It was a game where Brooklyn led for all but 3 minutes of the 48 played. They put up a performance up there. Dennis Schroeder, his contribution was 17 points, 8 assists. Cam Thomas, he led the team with 29 points. Mikal Bridges, he followed up with 25. Nick Claxton, double-double, 16 points, 10 rebounds. Their starting five for that game was Mikal Bridges, Dennis Schroeder, Cam Thomas, Dorian Finney-Smith and Nick Claxton. They played a relatively tight bench. Dennis Smith Jr., Jalen Wilson, Day'Ron Sharpe and Lonnie Walker IV. Later on, you saw Trendon Watford, Noah Clowney and Keita Bates Diop come in as well. As to tonight, they have a couple of guys who are out for the season, Ben Simmons being one of those and Derek Whitehead. Cameron Johnson is day-to-day but probable with an ankle injury, so head coach Kevin Ollie will have a game time decision to make about Cameron Johnson. He has featured in 45 of he has started in 45 of the 49 games he's played. So if he's available, you could well see him come in and replace Cam Thomas in the starting five. Interesting to see. Head-to-head, 130 regular season games played. It's 70-60 in favour of Orlando. We haven't won this series since 2019-2020, where we took it 3-1. And if we win tonight, we still won't take this season. It will just tie it up at 2-2. So far, in the last 13 regular season games played, we have won only 4. This season, it is 2-1 to the Nets, and last season it was 2-1 to the Nets. This season so far, we played Brooklyn on match day 10, November the 14th, and it was a lacklustre Orlando performance that saw a 104-124 defeat, which was our first in-season tournament game. Franz Wagner led the team, 21 points, and now Laker Spencer Dinwiddie led the Nets with 29. The second meeting was on game day 20 in Brooklyn also, December the 2nd, and Brooklyn broke our 9-game winning record on that game. Again, visiting the Barclays Center, the Magic failed to produce. It's not a happy hunting ground for us there. Paolo Banchero led the Magic, 19 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Mikal Bridges absolutely feasted on what was an ineffective defensive performance by ourselves. He got 42 points and we lost 101-129. Most recently, game day 59 on February the 27th, the Magic, without Paolo Banchero, took an 81-108 home win. Franz Wagner again led the Magic with 21 points, but it was bench scoring and a total team defensive effort that carried the day in that one. Dennis Schroeder led the Brooklyn Nets with 15 points, and interestingly, we held Mikal Bridges to what is a season low of just 4 points. This, as I say, is the final meeting of the season. Final thought. So, we've told you before, Magic have, on 18 occasions this season, held our opponents to under 100 points, winning 16 of those games, and that includes the most recent visit of Brooklyn to the Kia Center. But don't expect any freebies from the Nets tonight. They are still chasing that play-in tournament. They are just 3 games back of Atlanta in 10th. And as we said in our last preview, for Orlando, every game at this point is important. From the New York Knicks in the 4th seed position with a 38-27 record to Miami in 8th with 35-29, just 3 games separate them all. Tonight is the second night of a back-to-back for the Pacers, who are in 6th. They host the Chicago Bulls in 9th, and the Heat, who are in 8th, are recreating last year's finals by hosting the defending champion Denver Nuggets. I would also finally say, don't panic about some dip in form of some players recently. In sport, it is not uncommon to see a young team on the cusp of becoming successful take a bit of a wobble late in the season. It's part of development and learning how to deal with the pressure. That's where I think we are with Orlando at this moment in time. So don't worry, lay off the guys. Let's hope we get what we want tonight. And that's that W. So if you've enjoyed this preview, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and more importantly, let's go Magic. Let's get that W.